so today is Sunday, November the 8th, 2020. We won't have many days like this left, that's for sure. It is gorgeous. It's like 70 degrees outside. I believe Steven said it was like 74 degrees outside. And the sun's coming up through the trees. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It is warm. It is beautiful. It is gorgeous. All right, so we are underneath the tent house. And look, AJ, look how creative your dad is. Look at that. So we have the old pole for our light. That is a light fixture pole that Daddy used the forklift to bring that up and to support this tent. All right, now see, here's the outside of the building here. And Dad used the forklift to bring that up, and it goes all the way across. Welcome to the big house, the big top. Come one, come all. This is like a circus tent, AJ. They used to call circus tents the big top. Did you know that? They did. They used to call circus tents the big house, or the big top. So that's what we have going on here. We have a big top going on. This is our tarp house made out of the tarps that Steven had from driving the Peterbilt. When we sold the Peterbilt, he kept his tarps, which was a good thing. I mean, originally I think I had encouraged him to try to sell the tarps, but it's just really an awesome thing that he did not sell the tarps, because what he's done here is he's created a tarp house or a tent house. And this here is our storage unit, our storage container right there. So that's one side of it is the storage container. And then the other side of it is our current building. And it's held up by this electrical pole. And then Steven has made some supports up here. Now this has really worked out. We got this at JCPenney's. This is an independent shelf that has shelves on both sides. It has wheels on it. And see, look at that, JCPenney right there. JCPenney. And we bought this. Our local JCPenney's went out of business. And so we were able to buy this shelving here that it's got 3 on each side. And it rolls. And then we also bought this ladder here.
And we bought...
So we purchased this from JCPenney's too. This rolling 3-shelf ladder here. That's been very helpful. So when they went out. And what else did we get from JCPenney's, AJ? Of how muddy things are around here. Unfortunately, the forklift is going to stay here for a while. We've made really good use out of this forklift, and it's been a blessing to have this forklift, but it is so muddy and so wet so often around here that the forklift is going to stay where it's at for a while. And it's not in a bad spot either. It's underneath the big top, underneath the tent house. And so it's covered up with a tarp. In fact, it kind of actually helps with the tarp. The tarp is kind of hanging on top of it. But, and I just stepped in some mud. I'll have to get those. We got our goulashes around here. So you pretty much have to have mud boots when you're coming around here. I've got my handy dandy men's boots. I love my men's boots, and AJ has boots on it. And see, there's just mud everywhere. And so, yes, the forklift is stuck. It is a beautiful day of sunshine. I'm so thankful that we're able to get some things done because it's not going to be pretty weather much longer.
They call it a catalytic muffler. They charged my insurance company $3 grand for that thing. That's why it's still there.
Because it's worth $3 grand. Or it may not be worth $3 grand, but that's what they charged, right? Yeah. So anyway, if somebody out there wants to give us $3 grand for it, we'll let it go. We'll let it go for probably half that. This is the stump of the tree that we cut down a couple weeks ago. It made me think of Shel Silverstein's The Giving Tree. Every time I see a stump, from childhood, I always think of Shel Silverstein's The Giving Tree. How the tree gave everything until the very end. She gave the apples, she gave the branches, she gave the trunk, and she gave everything to the very end until she was just a stump. And the old man sat on the stump and she gave him a rest. So, you remember Mommy reading The Giving Tree to you? Probably not. So, the tree that gave everything that she had. And that was the beautiful tree that we had up until a couple weeks ago. Kind of nice to see those two bikes side by side. And then of course we've got the other one out here. So right now we just have a small inventory of 3 motorcycles, and of course then we have our 4-wheeler. A very small inventory for a very small startup company, but we got to be wishful and prayerful and believe that we can go from 3 motorcycles to a whole lot of motorcycles. And I mean a lot, like a parking lot.
Yeah, well, I got $18,000 invested in just those right there.
Well, yes, that's 18 grand. It's about an average of $6,000 a bike, an average. But, you know.
And I only got it because in the state of Kentucky, you got to have $20,000 inventory before they'll acquire it, before they will give you a dealership license.
Right, so, and we were going to try to get that dealership license before Christmas, but they made it very clear that in the state of Kentucky, all dealership licenses expire on December 31. And they said that even if you got it on December 1 and you had to pay for it for December, for the year, then you had to renew it in January. But anyway, so we are in the stages of getting everything prepared to get our license. But as Stephen was saying, we did invest $18,000 in the 3 motorcycles that we have. And I mean, yes, it's just 3 motorcycles, but when you're just starting out company, 18 grand is 18 grand. So that's not chump change, that's for sure. So we're trying to get everything we can do to get prepared in January to get our license. AJ, instead of playing with stuff, you might be helping your father. You're just kind of playing. There's a bunch of things that has, AJ's our techie boy, and anything that has a button on it or anything that he thinks he can press, all the discoveries, like that's some type of old dash cam from his truck driving days, probably. And, anyway, AJ's becoming more curious into the things that are here in the building rather than helping Dad take things out. So, that's disappointing, AJ. You need to be putting yourself to work to help Daddy. One thing about having an air-controlled building, when we put the concrete down and we do some modification to this building, we're going to have to do something about the air control in here, because Stephen says that he has to keep the... it's not dew, I guess, but moisture, the sweat, the perspiration off the motorcycles, because we don't have a heating system out here yet. That's the key. And so he has to constantly be wiping the perspiration off of these motorcycles. He calls it sweat. I guess it would be like morning dew on the motorcycles, but anyway, so just a lot of things that we...
Air control.
The air control.
Air control.
Well, I mean,
it's just a pole barn. There is no air control. It's either hot or cold.
Said something about
when it's all put together, I'm gonna put a wood stove in there.
Oh, okay. So the wood stove.
Is this the 400 grand?
No.
So the wood stove then. We'll have to keep the perspiration off these bikes.
perspiration. Are they sweating?
Well, that's what you tell me. You call it sweat. You say
Sweats.
yes, the metal sweats.
In the morning when it's cold and the day starts warming, you'll come in here and there'll be sweat all over the metal.
Which
That's why it's not good being here, them being in here without it being temperature control.
all right. So as Stephen pointed out, this is what they call a pole barn. And what would you what is the basic definition of a pole barn, Stephen?
See the poles?
Yes.
That's why it's called a pole barn.
Okay.
The never-ending junk pile. I've already taken several thousands of pounds out of here, and it doesn't look like I've taken anything out. Never ending.
So this building was here when we moved here. This is not something that we put up. This was the independent.
It's got 16 years of garbage in it.
Well,
And since I was over the road as a truck driver during those 16 years, guess who put all the garbage?
oh no! Now look, none of that, hardly any of that stuff belongs to me. Okay, so don't start that.
Yeah. Yeah, it took me about a month just to get Ruthie's stuff out of here. Now I'm finding my stuff.
Well, I wish you wouldn't use the word junk because junk implies that it's junk. That's a derogatory word. So it's stuff that you need and use. So it's not
junk until you need it.
well.
Then it's not junk anymore.
Well, okay. Thank you for the clarification there.